Hello, everyone. I have a topic that I'm going to talk to you about today, which is a certain bill that's near and dear to my heart. I have a lot of family members that are in law enforcement. So, a stressor for stricter or more sane licenses on guns will be beneficial. So, for my act that I picked for my bill was Background Check Completion Act of 2020. So, just a little bit about this bill. This bill is just here to make sure that people who buy guns or distribute guns have a license. So, for the consumer, they need a license just to obtain the gun before they even buy it from a registered official who sells guns. And on the other hand, people who distribute guns need to have a license to sell guns so that the serial numbers are scratched off for when they buy it, or just different common facts that you know about guns that should not be there. So, just in front of you, as you can see from this visual aid, you can see that this is a state of Indiana handgun license. So, a few specs of the license, you will have you have the hair color. Some may have the hair color. Some have the height of the person. You definitely gonna have the address, and also you can have the eye color and weight. But as you can see above in front of you, you can see that the license has a number. This number is so that if you buy a certain gun, that gun will be registered to your license. So this license, if I buy a handgun, and this is my license, my handgun can be tracked from different government officials back to me. So with the serial number, they search the serial number and they search who is it registered to. If that serial number is scratched off, they might have a problem trying to find who the gun is registered to. So that's why the serial number and everything to buy a gun needs to be in place before you buy it. So for me, I believe that knowing how to buy a firearm, knowing about the firearm, and a person's mental state is very important to this act. So now that you know a little bit about a license, I'm going to inform you about how to buy a firearm. There are different websites, as you see on below by the image. There are different websites where you can buy a firearm. You can buy handguns, assault rifles, anything like that. But the bigger weapons may come as a challenge to buy. So people give their consent on these applications. These applications ask your height, weight, who you are, because they need to know who this person is before they send them a gun or give them a license to own the gun, because they don't know what they're going to do with the gun. So they give their consent, give their address, phone number, those things, and they send their application in. Once they send their application in, if they are approved for a background check, then their license will be sent in the mail. If not, they will be halted for getting their license. They need to specify on the application where their guns will be kept. So this can be either concealed carry or open carry, depending on what your state requires. As from a source from Jonathan Griffin and Jeffrey Garrison have talked about firearms. Their firearms, they say that it's not easy to obtain a firearm, but they work hard to gain these certain applications to get these guns. So now that I informed you on how to obtain a gun, I will let you know about the knowledge about weapons. So some people do not know about weapons, what they are, how to fire them, where to get them, but this is a very common fact that people need to know before they obtain a gun. So different bullets are hard to find. Many bullets you cannot get because different residential areas do not allow these guns. These guns need to be obtained legally. So some guns that are rated for the military, I can't get it in my apartment. And that is just a safety requirement. So as you see from the NRA family, handguns need to be locked up. They see fit that handguns should be locked up if you're owning a gun. This is just to family, people that come into your house. Some people just use it for protection, but they need to be locked up at all times. May not be loaded, may be loaded, but the act shows that handguns should be locked up at all times. Then many lightweight weapons, like I said before, are not able to be in households because there are many different accusations, as I'll show later on in this speech, that guns may cause cruelty. So this act is just more harsher plans on how to keep our people, children, everyone safe. But also do not take away everyone's guns. And if you obtained it legally, you may keep your gun. So now that I told you about guns and how to obtain them, or just how guns work, I'm going to tell you about people's mental state. Now this topic, I've read in the act. This is very dear and important to me because someone's mental state is very important because you do not know what a person is going through. You do not know how they are acting. So with guns playing a picture into it, guns are just some extra firepower. So the person or distributor needs to make sure that whoever is getting the license is able to control themselves. So some people that have mental illnesses, and when they send in an application, they may be halted. This is not nothing bad. This is not against a person, but this is just because each person needs to be trusted in order to own a gun. Everyone can get a license, but this act shows that certain people that are approved for the background check, submit the application, nothing's wrong with the application, will be able to obtain a gun and also pay for it. Next, there is damage relating to suicide. So this is why harsher laws need to be put on guns. That this act puts harsher laws on guns because, as you've seen before, America has a large problem of suicide. Just from an article from Jeffrey Swanson, it shows that suicide, mental health is a big fact, and guns play a major role into it. As you see before you, even from 2016, even from the 1900s, moving forward, even from the 2000s moving forward, that guns play a major role in the deaths in America. So mental illness, when you put that into effect, that everyone's mental illness will increase the amount of suicide in America. So people who have mental illness or suicide should not be able to obtain a gun so easily and end their life. There's different ways that we can work around this. So this act will help people who are distributing guns illegally be locked up or halted so that these guns will not be in our children's or in children's hands so easily or in people's hands so easily. Because, as I said, anyone could obtain a gun as long as you have the certain restrictions that they need. And as said now, that there's the restrictions, as repeated, will be you need to be a certain age. You need to pass the background check, and also you need to have the correct affordable money to obtain a gun. So as of right now, you need to at least be 21 years of age or older to obtain a gun. Then school shootings play a big role into this act. So this act looked back on school shootings as this article I found from Jeffrey Swanson about school shootings. He states that school shootings happen because people who obtain guns illegally bring them into the school. So things like the black market, things like friends just selling them guns because their parents have guns to make quick bucks. Those are illegal actions and those should not happen. So this act will halt it. And I fully stand on being strong with this act because we need to make sure that these guns are obtained legally and in the right people's hands. So, in conclusion, there are a lot of people that obtain guns. There are a lot of people that buy guns and that will keep guns. But not a lot of people know about the different facts about guns. So, once again, people need to know a license, need to have a license, need to have the correct mental state, and need to know about the guns that they are buying or the firearms that they are obtaining.